Sunday, October 5th, 2014, and I've asked my nephew Glenn Brkich and his girlfriend Krista Anderson to help me make a video of my mom making her apple strudel from scratch. And this apple strudel has been in our family for generations, and we absolutely love it. My name is Vicki Brkich. This is my mom, Frances Brkich. She's 93 years old, and today we're working 93 and a half. And today we're working in her kitchen. Mom, how many years have you been making this apple strudel recipe?
The first one I made 1935, 79 years ago.
And you started this recipe from watching your mom make it.
Yeah, I did.
But now the recipe has evolved into something different.
Yeah, it is. It always changes. Some people say different ways to add something and take something out, put something more in. Well, then I had the recipe that very last.
So you've been using now our Auntie Anne's recipe for probably 70 years. Auntie Anne from Kamloops, BC, and Kirpin. So this recipe makes 6 strudels, and all sorts of cultures have their different idea of how they make an apple strudel. So the one that we're going to see today is a Croatian apple strudel. And so Mom, our goal is to make one of your wonderful strudels, which you did this morning. So if Glenn, you want to show what she already baked this morning. This is what we want to produce. And it has been cooling for a couple hours now, so it's sunk a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's our goal. And so now we're going to get started. So we got to make the dough. So Mom has in this bowl 4 cups of all-purpose white flour that she's sifting.
Okay. Then I add, where's this here?
Where's your hot water?
I'll get it.
Okay. So she's got, on the stove, she's got 1/3 cup of melted butter, and she's got 1/3 cup of vegetable oil, and she likes to use mazola. And she's put that together, and she's going to add
1.5 cup of hot
water, which she does from the top. So you mix all that together, and now you're going to make a well.
Make a well. Is there a little bit salt in? We didn't put in salt.
No, there's some salt right here. You said a pinch of salt. So you were going to add that to here or to there?
I'll call this a pinch of salt.
Okay, a pinch of salt goes into the liquid. Okay.
So now
she's made a well.
And I start.
Okay. So this is a step that I've done before, and she says I always do it wrong. Because you can't just start mixing all the flour.
Yeah, a little bit at a time.
You have to do a little bit at a time. And you said to me before, Mom, not to scrape the flour from the sides of the bowl.
No.
Why not?
Because then it gets sticky. This other pastry will get sticky if you do it. So you have to make a loop like this and do it slowly. This is not the fast job.
Can you see that, Glenn?
Yeah, I'll come in closer here.
Yeah.
So that's the key, huh?
Yeah. And you also said to me once that all the flour in the bowl does not have to be used up.
That's right.
So,
but you have to have enough.
Yeah, so it's basically, it's something you just know from your experience of making it.
Yeah.
And you've also told me sometimes you have to add more flour.
If I put more water in or something like that.
Is it better if it's all done by hand rather than using a machine?
I never did use machine.
She's never made this dough using a machine. I asked her that earlier, if we could maybe use a bought dough from a store, or maybe a phyllo pastry, but she's never tried it, so she doesn't know.
It's not the same.
That's interesting, though, that you say that you don't have to use all of the flour.
Yeah.
You're gonna see not much left by the time I'm done. It looks pretty good to me. It looks white, so that shows.
So, Mom, you've done this for 79 years. How many strudels do you think you've made then?
Oh gosh. From here to Europe.
And back almost.
But,
Yeah.
and you know what? I've never ever met one person that didn't like your apple strudel.
Oh,
In fact, it's a dessert to die for.
Well, you know, it's new, that's why.
Okay.
Okay.
So now it
we'll
looks like
take
you
it.
might not be using all the flour in the bowl.
Mhm.
So you're doing a little bit of netting or kneading.
when's the last time you made a cheese strudel, Bubba?
Cheese strudel?
Yeah,
Oh, a while ago.
yeah.
Yeah. It seems to me my family likes better
The apple.
apple.
Yeah.
Okay, so we didn't use all the flour in the bowl. And now
Going to
we're going to do
still
some
use
kneading.
lots.
And you said to not over knead the bread or the dough because it might be
Be
hard to
hard.
stretch later.
Yeah.
So how do you know how much to do it for?
Well, you have to feel it. I'll tell you in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
If it's really hard, then it won't be stretching and be breaking. You see, it's still
It's still what? It looks pretty good to me.
soft. Too soft, I still have to, it's sticking.
Okay, so it's sticky. That's why you're
Yeah.
adding more flour.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, these are notes that I took from you maybe 10 years ago when I last took pictures of you making this recipe. And you say here to form the dough into a round ball and knead it until little bubbles appear on the surface of the dough.
Yeah, sometimes it does.
But sometimes it doesn't?
Yep. Sometimes I don't look for them anymore.
Well, that's a fine help.
So break it in 2 and 3.
Okay, so now she's going to make this into 3 pieces, so that's where all the individual strudels come from. This is called the first dough. And after we make a strudel from each one, there'll be a little bit of dough left over, so we make some more with the second dough.
But you should only mention these 3. Lots of people don't bother.
And I even tried with when I helped Mom is to make a strudel out of the third dough. We'll show you what that means a little later on when we get to that part. So now you're still kneading because it's still sticky, or
I just want to make it sure there's nothing left.
what? What do you mean nothing left?
Wetness.
Wetness.
Yeah.
Stickiness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Moisture, if you will.
Yeah. So she's also got these 3 plates out, and she's put a little bit of mazola oil in each plate where the dough is going to sit and rest.
We're only putting 1 in the oven so we can.
Today, right now, yeah.
Yeah.
So we can practice and make a strudel.
I hope it's okay.
Looks good. So this dough is going to go into the oven. She's
And I always turn the seams up.
seam side up,
Yeah.
and it's got a little bit of mazola oil on it. And you're going to put some wrap on it, right? Saran wrap?
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't go into the oven with the saran wrap. No,
Yes, it does.
it does.
It's not that hot.
This is her oven, by the way. This is from 1955 oven. So it's almost 60 years old. And she's got a nice feature on her oven that she can just put it to warm. So she's warmed the oven up. Now she's turned the oven off. So this first dough is going to go in the oven for, what, 45 minutes, Mom? Maybe?
Well, or less, I hope. You know,
Around there.
because it's nice and lukewarm now.
And that's where the magic happens, where the dough gets nice and soft so that we can manipulate it and stretch it later and make the strudel, the fine, thin layer that we need for the strudel.
So what temperature is it at then? Like
She's just warm.
just
warm.
oh,
She just warmed it up and then turned it off.
oh, okay.
So, yeah, it's just warm. Okay, well, why don't we put that one,
Get me that thing,
what do you need?
What's this?
paper.
Oh, saran wrap.
Saran wrap.
Oh, okay.
Yep. There you go.
There you go. How much?
Okay, that much.
Excellent.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
A good shot of the oven here.
Lunch is coming out. We're going to have a little bite to eat while this is doing its magic in
Yeah.
the oven. Okay. So Mom, you've just taken this out of the oven now. It's been about 50 minutes. Can you tell us why you think it's ready?
Because it's spread out more than I see it. You see that?
Yeah.
When you lift it like that, then...
So if I look at this
you
other
should-
one that hasn't been in the oven,
Yeah, you can...
right here,
Yeah,
okay, it's hard, and
Yeah.
this is nice and soft.
yeah. Mhm.
And it's spread all the way out. Okay, so now show us what you're going to do with that dough.
So I'm going to put it here. You see the flour?
Yeah. So you're flouring your board.
And I try now, this is the seam up, so you do it this way.
Seam up. Okay.
Okay. And then I roll it up. Have you got the sheet on the table?
Yes, I got the pastry. The pastry sheet
Just a
is on the
minute.
table. This part, she makes it look so easy, but when she puts it on the rolling pin and carries it over to the table, I screw it up every time I try it. But she makes it look really easy.
Yeah, you try to roll it evenly if you can, but that's very hard to do. Now this is all I can do right now, so I lift it up like this.
Okay, now she takes it to the table.
Okay.
And fold it in.
And this is,
And now she's going to stretch it. So Mom, do you want me to help you with that?
yeah, you go over there and
And we can't wear any kind of rings or jewelry or... And you think it's a good dough, Mom?
good dough.
It's a good dough.
Oh, good dough. Yeah. I like it.
You've got to watch these little holes here
That's
that I'm making. You see,
That's okay at the end.
that's not a good thing.
So wow, that's
So see, that's good. That's excellent.
So here we are, ready to start shredding the apples. Before I do that, Mom, let's talk a little bit about the apples that you select. You told me that you like to use 3 different types of apples, and it usually takes about maybe 9 apples per strudel, depending on the size of the apple, right?
Yeah.
And what kind of apples do you like to use?
Well, I don't know the name. I just take a look at them and
Well, I know you've used Fuji's, and I know you've
Yeah,
used
Fuji's.
Granny Smith.
yeah.
Now these apples here, I got in Vernon a couple weeks ago. I've never heard of these types before, but we're using Honeycrisp, Silken, and Arlat apples.
So
And
that's new to me.
yeah, they're new.
Yeah.
And these are really big apples, so we'll see how much we
So I
need.
try now.
You go ahead.
Yeah.
See this really neat little tool she has? Someone gave that to her as a gift, and without it, she doesn't feel she could make this as well.
How long have you had that grater there?
Oh, this grader is about 45, 50 years old.
Oh,
And she hasn't been able to find anything like it anywhere
They
since.
changed, yeah.
So it works the best for her, for this recipe. What'd you get there, little?
Little
Yeah.
skin.
And this might look easy, but I've done this, and your wrist just starts to ache like you wouldn't believe after you keep, you know. Mom makes like 16 or 17 of these in a day. And this
Yeah,
is
I
just
like
one.
The more I do, the more I'm gonna do that.
So you're leaving a little space here, right?
I'm gonna,
And you're just building a nice pile.
yeah, but I will bring it back a little bit. Yeah.
Now these are nice big apples, so you won't need to use all of them, I don't think.
And the pastry is nice.
Mm-hmm.
you let the apples sit on the counter for a bit before you do this, or they're a bit softer, or?
No, we just get them ready.
We
Yeah.
got them ready earlier this morning, but they do discolor when you peel them too early.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter in this recipe. But Mom did tell me that old apples are better for this recipe than freshly picked apples, because the freshly picked apple will, the juices will run more out of the strudel when they're baking. For the older apple, it doesn't do it as badly.
Oh yeah.
But these are pretty, I would think that these are pretty young apples, because we
Yes,
just
they
picked
are.
them up at Vernon at the
Yeah,
orchard
you can tell.
a couple weeks ago. But they're nice. So how do you know when you've had enough? Like how,
Well, the pastry is good, and I can see they not, you need this one, and that's it.
just this the one apple?
Yeah.
This is nice and even.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm leaving these here.
Okay. So I'll bring the other ingredients over that,
Okay.
we'll just take this. So Mom, what are you gonna do now?
Sugar.
How much?
I have a cup. I'm gonna start up.
Half a cup of sugar.
Yeah. So I'll see if I'm gonna use it all.
And what are you doing?
I'm sifting it now, and approximately you have to judge this. If you want a little bit more sugar, you can add, but half a cup, no more than that. Okay.
Okay.
And then now I put
Cinnamon.
cinnamon. I
And
add the cinnamon.
you can see it's just, there's no measurement here, it's just go with what you want.
Yeah, no measurement, no. And then I use the breadcrumbs.
Yeah? And same thing with that, no measurement, just what you
No.
feel?
Just you know yourself. You know this is gonna save
Why do you put the breadcrumbs in?
so the butter doesn't go out.
So it kind of absorbs the
soaks-
butter.
Yeah, it soaks the butter in. And the apple juice also can stay also in when you put this. If you don't put this, you would have no strudel.
Now sometimes when I was younger, you used to add raisins and things like that.
I know, but not.
That was really good, that's quite tasty. So you can add raisins, what else can you add? Anything else? You do with cheese, cottage
Oh
cheese?
yeah, I used to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now I finish with butter,
Okay, so she's got half a pound of melted butter in here.
and I'll use quite a bit.
She's very generous with the butter, my mom. So Mom, tell us what you're doing here now.
Well, I'm going to roll it. I try to roll it as tight as I can. Otherwise,
And don't you put that?
yeah, I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now she's just kind of starting by getting some of the dough off of the pastry cloth.
What happens if it's not tight enough?
Oh, well, it would stick. You see that? and you do it. There it goes.
There you go.
That'd be that, huh?
There
Yeah.
she goes. And then she cuts that into 3. I'll get you a knife.
So I get 3 pieces so they can fit into the pan.
Mm-hmm, yes. You need a very large oven.
Okay,
Large strudel. Next time you come, you'll have the strudel.
I couldn't find your other knife, but
Oh, what's the paper thing?
and so what she does is she freezes these. So what you do?
Then I add like this, like that. And I'm not cheap on the paper because if you are, then you're short. So we'll cut this in 3 pieces. It's only because there's no bags big enough if I cut it in 2.
Yeah.
So I have to cut it in
And
3.
plus you don't have a pan long enough to cook it unless you have the right size, right?
Yeah, but you have to, you can roll it this way.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you see.
You can make a horseshoe out of
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
She decided to cut it in 2 instead of 3 because she thinks she can fit these pieces on a
Looks
baking
very
pan.
small to me.
But these are going in the freezer. So Mom, if you were going to bake this
Yeah,
and not put it in the freezer, you would preheat your oven to what? You said 325?
325. Everybody's oven is different, you know, so mine is 325.
For how long?
And here, this like that. Then you do this like that, and this way, and this way, and that's it,
How long do you bake yours, Mom, in your oven at 325?
until it's done.
Okay, how long would that be?
When it's nice and brown,
When it's nice and brown, so
3/4 of an hour.
yeah, about 45 minutes.
Yeah,
And sometimes you can sprinkle some sugar and cinnamon on top as well.
if you want, but I don't
Yeah.
do it. So that's 2 big ones. You see, I'll make it in the bag somehow.
And so now with the other 2 pieces of dough that we're not going to be filming today,
Yeah.
we can make 2 more from each of those pieces of dough, and then all the second doughs get put together, and we might make another 2 out of that one.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a lot of
Okay.
work,
Indeed.
a lot of work, but it's fantastic. Well, here we are with the leftovers, and we still got some more work to do. So thankful that Glenn and Krista came by
Yeah. Thank you so
yeah,
much.
to make this in a special moment for all of us, and the family can share this recipe now, and we
Okay.
should know how to make it.
Yeah, you seen how it's stretched and rolled out, and
Yeah.
you see the flour, very little left, look.
Yeah, from the 4 cups.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Baba.
Okay.
Thanks,
Okay,
Mom.
Mish.